What is up? Welcome back. We are back with the part 3 of the FJ build series, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, welcome back to the part 3 of the FJ build series. We're kind of flying through it, so we'll just cover again the things we've knocked out so far. So the first one is going to be the easiest one. We've done a shorty antenna. I think that makes a pretty big aesthetic difference. I've done idler pulleys. We just knocked out the spacer diff drop underneath. We have done the pedal on the inside of the car, the AJT blackout package on the inside of the car, so black handles, new foot pedal, new knobs, and then we fixed the CV mount that was broken on the rear of the truck. So we're moving through this pretty quick. Today we're going to try to tackle the belt tensioner. It's a pretty big job. I just wanted to show you guys the old part, which is this. The only thing you'll save from it will be your old mounting hardware, so the bolts, and those will go into the new one. I did want to show you guys, this was the bolt that snapped off in there. So you can see that that's stuck in there. So I got this drill and tap set from Harbor Freight, and that is what broke off inside of the hole that I had drilled in that bolt. So yeah, once that happened, I knew that I had to get a whole new belt tensioner. But did just want to give a huge shout out to Rock Auto, because I went and bought a replacement pulley for this at first, and at AutoZone that pulley was $75. At Rock Auto, the pulley alone was like 30 bucks. So pretty big difference in the pulleys. You can see I have all the old ones right there. But once I snapped off the bolt and that, it didn't matter. I had to get a whole new belt tensioner anyway. So plan of attack for the belt tensioner. I got to lift the truck up. I got to remove this wheel so that I can reach the belt tensioner and try to get the hardware back in along with the new belt tensioner right here in this empty space right here. So it's going to be a ton of work. I probably won't make a super detailed video on it. I'll kind of just do a before and after, because A1 Auto does a very detailed video on the sizes, the tools, and the process for taking out the belt tensioner, the fan, and the fan shroud. So that's the video I kind of leaned on when I needed to do this. I'm not gonna lie, it's a fight to get that thing out. So hopefully it won't be as big of a fight getting that thing back in. And then kind of depending upon if I can get that done, some of the other few things we have left, which I don't know if I'll include in this video, but maybe if we have time. We have the new struts for the rear glass right here. And these are the nuts I had to go get from Toyota for the fan. I'll probably save the half shaft for another day, because I don't want to do 2 gigantic jobs in one day. But I kind of wanted to get the car back underneath its own power, and then that way I can flip the truck around and maybe get after putting in the sound deadening. We'll see though, kind of all depends on how long this one takes me. I'll give you guys updates along the way for where I'm at, but I won't make a detailed video. If you guys want that, like I said, go check out the video on A1 Auto, because that's a good video. All right, so we're getting ready to get going here. We had to take the wheel off, because down through here now you can get access. You can see some of the bolts over there for the belt tensioner. And then you also need some long pry bars, and you're gonna need a bunch of long extensions, because you use these pry bars to move around. What you're seeing right here, this piece, is the AC compressor, and you use those pry bars to move this thing around to give you access to some of these other bolts. But before we get going, I'm just gonna take a second to kind of touch on just being smart about when you're underneath the car. So I got my jack and my jack stand supporting the truck. Don't ever be underneath there without a jack stand, because if this falls, my wife isn't home, she's at work right now, so I'd be pinned underneath this vehicle. And always make sure you chalk the wheel just so this thing doesn't roll backwards on you. Just be smart about it. I'm sure you guys already know that, but I figured I'd just take a moment to talk about it before we get going. So next up, what we got to do is there's a total of 5 bolts inside of this belt tensioner. You can't really mess it up. All you need to know is that this is the top of the belt tensioner right here. So you got two at the top, and then kind of 3 kind of wrapping around the bottom. The only thing you really need to pay attention to about this is the top one is your longest bolt. All the other ones are the same size, so you can't really mess it up, but just know that your longest one goes in the top. So first fight is getting the new one in there, and then the second fight is going to be trying to align the bolts while trying to push around that AC compressor in there with some pry bars to give me exposure to the bolts. So here we go, get ready to knock it out. Okay guys, so here we are, the belt tensioner is in. There's 5 bolts on that thing and they are a 14 millimeter. You can see I have the AC compressor pulled out pretty far to the front, but you can only get it out that far if the fan and the shroud is gone. So if you don't take those out, you'll never get that out that far, and then those bolts you'll never get to. But you can tighten them all through the wheel well. You can see I got this pry bar kind of wedged in here to push around the AC compressor in there. And then you can see your bolts. There's 2, 3 down low, and then 4, 5 up high. So you can kind of see another bolt in between the strut tower brace. So you can get to them, but it does require that fan and shroud to come out so you can move that AC compressor forward. So simple enough, it's in there, it's tight now. So now the next thing is I got to re-bolt up the AC compressor and then run the serpentine belt. And then I got to put my fan and shroud back on. So I'm going to knock those things out. I'll be back with you guys in a minute. Just like that, we got the new belt tensioner in right here and the AC compressor right here. Guys, I swear I just love to double and triple the time of some of these jobs because I'm cheap. Yeah, I was at Harbor Freight. I had some ratcheting wrenches in my hand. Like, I don't know if I'll need these. So I put them back, and man, I just fought this for the better part of an hour because I just could get a little tiny turn on a regular wrench on those 2 lower bolts on that AC compressor. Man, I just fought that. Kicking myself for not getting some ratcheting wrenches. Those will definitely be in the shop next. So the next step is we got the belt tensioner in, we got the AC compressor in. So now all I have left is putting in the alternator, which I have over there on that shelf, along with the serpentine belt that's over there as well. And then once I have the alternator and belt in, it'll be onto the fan and then the shroud, and then remounting the stuff for the radiator. So I'll be back in touch once I'm on the other side of that. Alternator's in. I just got to button up some connections on the back side of that alternator, and then I put the serpentine belt on as well, so I can just drop the fan in here and the fan shroud and bolt it on rather than trying to feed the belt around the fan. So you can kind of save yourself some time if you just put this on now and then do the fan on after that. So I'm gonna bolt up this alternator, get the connections plugged up, and the fan and the fan shroud is going in. I got the alternator buttoned up, all except for one connection on the back of the alternator back there. I've misplaced the nut, so I'm trying to find that. I thought it was one of these 2, but it's not, so I gotta find that nut. But instead of getting slowed down, I'm gonna throw the fan shroud, and button up the coolant tanks. So I'll be back when I'm done. That is that. She is all put back together. I have a bunch of degreaser I'm about to spray in here and clean this engine bay up a little bit. This has been sitting. But everything's in here, everything's working just fine. My neighbor saved me with the nut, so thanks for that, Michael. Guys, neighborly, be neighborly, it's nice. So outside of that, that's all I got. So now that this thing can move under its own power, I'll probably tackle the half shafts a different day. But I got enough sun where I think I can get a good head start on the sound deadening in the trunk. So we're gonna flip this thing around, and you'll have to see that in the next video. Peace.